Alright, this debate has existed forever, so I figured, after no uploads for like 5 years, why not come back by tossing my 2 cents into the mix? If you're not running one of Scout's many liquids, you're eventually gonna run into the age-old question, which pistol do I pick as Scout TF2? And honestly, you're kinda right no matter what you choose, as long as it's one of the 3, well, 2.5 options. We'll get there. And right away, I'm gonna be honest and spoil the fun. I think one of the 3 pistols is really overrated. So yeah, if you're already mad, perfect. Yell at me in the comments and let's go through these one by one. So Scout's options are as follows. The stock pistol, Scout's shared pistol with the engineer, the winger, the extra damage jumpy gun, and the pretty boy's pocket pistol, or just the pocket pistol. The stock pistol is kind of self-explanatory. It's just that, a pistol. A reliable little backup damage dealer for when you inevitably miss 6 meat shots and have to pull out the good old get out of jail free card. Or for those ranges where using your primary just isn't quite worth it. Up close, the pistol actually hits way harder than you'd expect. At range though, it's kinda just chip damage. And that's kinda the whole point. It's a cleanup tool, not a primary. And yeah, at point blank this thing can genuinely melt people. Like it hits stupid hard if you land all your shots. But if you're close enough for pistol demon mode... that usually means one of 2 things. Either you whiffed all your scattergun shots and you kind of deserve whatever happens next, or you should probably just be using your scattergun in the first place. Where the stock pistol really shines is in these weird in-between Scout situations. Like when you're playing that annoying hit-and-run kind of Scout, which I do want to talk about properly in a future video by the way, because Scout flanks are a whole different thing. And every once in a while, someone takes your bait, commits to chasing you, and when you're in scattergun range, you can dish out 2 clean meat shots for their troubles. Or the opposite happens. You land 1 or 2 good meat shots, and the bad guy does the smart thing and starts backing up, just outside of your range. That's where the pistol comes in. These mid-range situations are where the stock pistol really feels the best. You're not trying to delete the bad guys, you're just trying to finish a fight safely. And doing 100 damage per second is usually exactly what you need to clean up wounded enemies without overcommitting and dying like an idiot. So yeah, point blank stock hits hard, but that's kinda scattergun territory. Its real value is short to mid-range cleanup, poking, distracting, baiting a chase, or just finishing people at safer distances. At least that's how I use it. To be honest though, sometimes it doesn't really matter what pistol you pick or what range you use it at. Sometimes your pistol will just do this. Which, yeah, I mean, the pistol is kind of unreliable as a primary. That's kind of the whole point. The winger is also kind of self-explanatory. It's the pistol you pull out when you just gotta wing it. Okay, that sounded way better in my head, but we're keeping it. Stat-wise, the winger is basically the stock pistol turned up a notch. You only get 5 bullets instead of 12, so your sustain damage is lower. Not because it's weak, but because you're just gonna be reloading constantly. But if you're actually landing your shots, the winger's 25% increase in damage gives it a much higher burst damage per second than stock, meaning it hits harder per bullet and it can delete people way faster in short windows. And that's kind of the trade. In close range duels, it can honestly feel worse than stock sometimes, since the moment you miss 1 or 2 shots, that tiny clip starts feeling real bad, real fast. Like in this clip, it just keeps going and I keep reloading. Jesus Christ. But for quick cleanups and mid-range fights, the exact situations where you want your secondary to be doing its work, the winger just feels amazing. It's basically half a second of glory. And then you're reloading. But if you play around that rhythm, it's insanely strong. And that's kind of only half the story. The winger's other big thing is the 25% boost to jumping height while it's active. On paper, that doesn't sound like much, but in actual games it gives you way more mobility in so many situations. Because yeah, the atomizer can technically get you higher, but a lot of the time you don't even have the space to pull it out, wait for it to fully equip, and then go for the 3rd jump. Like half the time you need that extra height right now. And honestly, this is where I much prefer the winger's boost over the atomizer in practice. Even if the atomizer can reach higher, the winger just seems better. You can jump, move, and still shoot like normal. You're not stuck holding a fucking bat in the air like, hold on guys, I'm doing some movement here. Plus, as I mentioned before, you don't have to wait for the weapon to be fully equipped before you get its benefit. You just have it. It's there. And that alone makes it feel way more consistent during real fights. So yeah, the winger does basically one thing worse than stock, while doing two other things much better and gives you a fucking pogo stick. There's almost no downside to running it, except for a few really specific scenarios or if you just need those 12 bullets to save your life. Which brings me to option 3, the one everyone swears saves their life. The pocket pistol, in theory, sounds great. It's got that faster fire rate, it gives you a bunch of health per hit, and the whole vibe is like, oh cool, a portable health pack. But after you actually use the thing for a few hours, it just feels meh. Like yeah, on paper the 25% faster fire rate is supposed to be a huge deal, and technically it can pump out damage pretty well in short to mid ranges. But in practice it just doesn't. Because the pistol is already very inaccurate if you're just holding down mouse 1, the pocket pistol's faster fire rate makes that problem feel even worse. Like congrats, I just missed my entire clip faster. And the healing? Same story. There are moments where everything magically clicks into place and you're like, ooh, okay, I get it now. But those moments are so rare. Most of the time I found myself forcing the weapon into its intended purpose, trying to farm little bits of health back. And I'd either just die anyway, or I'd just sit out the entire fight and scramble for what, like 15 health? At times using this thing I was just like, ooh yeah, here's my chance to use my portable health pack.
Hit the bricks, pal, you're done.
It just doesn't work. At that point, you're better off just doing the scout thing and killing the bad guys instead of chipping at them for tiny heals. And here's the thing, if you really want healing, just use Mad Milk. Not only does it heal you more, providing a much higher value out of it, but it actually helps your team as well. Plus it also helps against pyros a lot. So the pocket pistol ends up in this weird spot where it's supposed to be a sustaining tool, but half the time you're trying to use it for said purpose, all 9 shots go around the enemy and you die. Oh yeah, and it's got 9 shots instead of stock's 12, which blah 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 doesn't really have an impact in practice. So yeah, maybe I'm missing something, some miraculous use case for the pocket pistol, and maybe some dedicated pocket pistol player is gonna tell me I'm trash in the comments. But right now, this thing just feels terrible to me. Maybe it's a playstyle thing, I don't know, but it just did not click for me at all. In my opinion, it kinda sucks. So, in conclusion, the stock pistol is still a very solid option in most cases. It's a reliable late damage tool for finishing off enemies who are already low, or just for being annoying at mid-range. Poking people, pulling attention, occasionally baiting them into chasing you, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. But the winger, in my opinion, just does that job better. It serves the same purpose, cleanup, quick pressure, finishing fights, while also giving you a huge mobility boost on top of that. And that mobility is kind of a must-have for Scout. Being able to free up your melee slot for other options and not having to rely on the atomizer for extra movement is huge to me. To be fair, both have their uses. If you really like the atomizer for your jumps, or you value having a bit more sustained pistol damage, stock still makes a lot of sense. Or if you're one of those weirdos getting your movement from the Force of Nature or Soda Popper, not my favorite, but whatever. But as for how often these situations really come up in games, the winger just wins way more of them. And then there's the pocket pistol. For me, it's just too situational to recommend in pretty much any loadout. If you need extra healing that much, just run the Mad Milk. It heals more and it helps your team too, while also being a good counter to pyros. Or hell, even something like the Candy Cane if you're truly unhinged, will probably net you more health long term than this thing. So for me, it ends up like this. Stock is the reliable option, the winger is better in practice, and the pocket pistol is just not it. Anyways, that's my take on this topic. If you agree, cool. If you disagree, also cool. Scout mains are gonna yell at me either way.